nationality, and we're also going to discuss what is a U.S. citizen for all you who claim to be U.S. citizens, but in actuality, you do not want to be a U.S. citizen. So, first of all, we're going to talk about certificates of non citizen nationality because we've been getting asked this question quite often, and it's very important to know that there is a difference of a citizen and a non-citizen, a state citizen and a U.S. citizen. So we're gonna go here where it says certificates of non-citizen nationality. Many people want to travel; they want to travel as a non-citizen. So this is a first step or one of the steps in order to get your non-citizen nationality certificate. Okay, the Department of State occasionally receives requests for certificates of non-citizen national status pursuant to Section 341B of the Immigration and Nationality Act, INA, comma 8 USC 1452B. As the title of the certificate indicates, only a person who is a non-citizen U.S. national, example, a U.S. national, but not a U.S. citizen, okay, may apply for such a certificate as defined by the INA. All U.S. citizens are U.S. nationals, but only a relatively small number of persons acquire U.S. nationality without becoming U.S. citizens. Section 101A21 of the INA defines the term national as a person owing permanent allegiance to a state. Section 101A22 of the INA provides that the term national of the United States includes all U.S. citizens as well as persons who, though not citizens of the United States, owe permanent allegiance to United States non-citizen nationals. Section 308 INA confers U.S. nationality but not U.S. citizenship on persons born in outlying possession of the United States or born up of a parent or parents who are non-citizen nationals who meet certain physical presence or residence requirements. The term outlying possessions of the United States is defined in Section 101-A-29 of the INA as American Samoa and Swains Island. No other statutes define any other territories or any of the states as outlying possessions. In addition to Section 308 of the INA, Section 302 of Public Law 94-241 provides for certain inhabitants of the Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands who became United States citizens by virtue of Article 3 of the Covenant to opt for non-citizen national status. See requirements of Section 302. As the department has received few requests, there is no justification for the creation of a non-citizen national certificate. Designing a separate document that includes anti-fraud mechanisms was seen as an inefficient expenditure of resources. Therefore, the department determined that those who would be eligible to apply for such a certificate may instead apply for a United States passport that will delineate and certify their status as a national but not a citizen of the United States. If a person believes he or she is eligible under the law as a non-citizen national of the United States, and the person complies with provisions of Section 341B of the INA 8 USC 1452B, he/she may apply for a passport at any passport agency in the United States. When applying, applicants must execute a Form DS-11 and show documentary proof of their non-citizen national status as well as their identity. And then it continues on to say pertinent sections of law on non-citizen nationalities, Section 341 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, and then it gives you a breakdown here, more further detail. Now, it's telling you right there that you can go and get your your American passport, okay, and not claim U.S. citizen, because if you claim to be a U.S. citizen, that makes you a 14th Amendment citizen. That will make you a slave to the system. That means you were born in the District of Columbia. That means you only have certain rights and duties that you must uphold and abide by. Now let's go real quick to the citizenship of the United States. Wikipedia, not very reliable, but this is pretty much accurate information as I have reviewed it. It says American citizen redirects here for the people, see Americans. This article is about United States citizenship in general for legal issues and naturalization. See United States nationality law. Citizenship of the United States is a status, okay, that entails specific rights, duties, and benefits. And now, if you guys have been studying law, common law, law of the land, if you've been wanting to, of course, exercise your sovereignty, okay, your constitutional unalienable rights, then you should have already in your possession a Black's Law Dictionary. I like to use the pocket size fourth edition because I travel a lot and I take it with me everywhere I go. This is my Bible, okay? Black's Law Dictionary. Get yourself one. Learn the words. They put it right in their own documentations, in their own data. It's in the words that they use it against you. Now, as they're saying, citizenship of the United States is a status that entails specific rights, fundamental, specific rights, duties, and benefits. Okay, so if you had a Black's Law Dictionary, fourth edition, which I have, duty, okay? The definition of duty is a legal obligation that is owed or due to another and that needs to be satisfied, an obligation for which somebody else has a corresponding right. So you have a duty as a U.S. citizen to abide by the rules, regulations, statutes, and codes. Continuing on, citizenship is understood as a right to have rights. It even sounds funny. A right to have rights? Like what? You have unalienable rights. But again, we're talking about you being a slave to a system that is there to pretty much tax the heck out of you and run your life when it comes to you paying for things like statutes and codes and other things that you do not and have not agreed to, okay? But only because you think that you have to be a U.S. citizen to be an American, which is totally not correct and accurate because we just read straight from the website of travel.state.gov. So you can be a state citizen, non-national, non-U.S. citizen, as long as you know what the heck you're doing. All right. Now we're gonna continue on here. It says, okay. So right to have rights, since it serves as a foundation of fundamental rights derived from and protected by the Constitution and laws of the United States, such as the right to freedom of expression, vote, due process, live and work in the United States, and to receive federal assistance. Okay, federal assistance is a private corporation. They're not part of the of America, of the Constitution. They're a private corporation that is not federal at all, by the way. Okay, certain rights are so fundamental that they are guaranteed to all persons. Now, let's look up the word persons because you see, once again, I love to show people the actual facts, not just opinions. Okay, this is not my opinion. Okay, because many people don't get it that this information is out there, and if you're not looking it up yourself, you're not doing your own due diligence, your own research, then you're being bamboozled, and you have been most likely fooled most of your life because you haven't been taught this. Okay, so now we're gonna look up persons. Okay, now again, don't mind me if you're someone who takes offense on the way that this information is being expressed. Okay, I do it with all due respect and understanding that there are people who are just learning about this, the straw man, the all caps name, and how The birth certificate has a bond number that is being traded on the New York Stock Exchange if you're a U.S. citizen or claim to have a birth certificate. And, and this may be new for you. So I want you to just get that in your mind that, this is something that I'm very passionate about. Team Aware is also very passionate about. And me being a consultant for Team Aware, I bring the people the knowledge. When I do my consultations, I tell them, it's always important not to just believe what we're telling you, but to do your own research. That's very imperative because if you don't do your own research with the information that we're already providing for you, and we're giving you all the instruction, then guess what? Then you're going to be misled by these people and these corporations. Now, person, as defined in Black's Law Dictionary, a human being. Okay, and what is a human being? Well, I'll leave that for another time, but they have it listed as a human being. Then they have disabled person, displaced person, interested person, person in local parentheses. They have person of incidence, person of inherence, person of interest, artificial person, which is your all caps straw man. Let's look what this means. An entity, such as a corporation, created by law and given certain legal rights. Sounds like certain legal rights is what you have as a U.S. citizen. And duties of a human being, of being real or imaginary, okay? Who, for the purpose of legal reasoning, is treated more or less as a human being. Etymology is a great way to start learning about the words, the true definition of words, etymology.com. I'll put a link in the description below so you can start learning about the true definition of these words. Human being, definition of that means monster. That's how they treat a lot of you people, like monsters, okay? Like boogeyman. When they're the actual monsters, they're the actual boogeyman. All right, so now that we discussed a bit of that on persons and the many definitions of persons, and the list goes on, but we're not going to go discussing all the definitions of what persons mean. Once again, Black's Law Dictionary is a great dictionary. So here we go. Certain rights are so fundamental that they are guaranteed to all persons, not just citizens. Those rights include the rights guaranteed by the first 8 amendments that pertain to individuals. However, not all U.S. citizens, such as those living in Puerto Rico, have the right to vote in federal elections. There are two primary sources of citizenship: birthright citizenship, in which a person is presumed to be a citizen if he or she was born within the territorial limits of the United States, or providing certain other requirements are met, born abroad to a U.S. citizen parent; and naturalization, a process in which an eligible legal immigrant applies for citizenship and is accepted. These two pathways to citizenship are specified in the Citizenship Clause of the Constitution's 1868 14th Amendment, which reads, all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of the state wherein they reside. And that's what you have to understand. You want to be If you're going to be a citizen, you want to be a citizen of the state where you were born. If you're a New Yorker, you're a New Yorker. If they ask, what's your status? I'm a New Yorker. I'm a New Yorker myself, so I am a New Yorker. Okay, I'm a state citizen of New York. Okay, I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm a state citizen of New York. I'm a New Yorker. So this is why it's very important for you guys to start learning about the words that they're using, because they're using it against you, as I mentioned before, and as you're seeing here. And also, there was another word that they used, because you only have certain duties and rights, right? But let's look up the word right. Here, Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition, says that which is proper under law, morality, or ethics, no right from wrong, by something that is due to a person by just claim, legal guarantee, or moral principle, the right of liberty, a power, privilege, or immunity secured to a person by law, the right to dispose of one's estate, a legally enforceable claim that another will do or will not do a given act, a recognized and protected interest, the violation of which is a wrong, a breach of duty that infringes one's right, the interest claim or ownership that one has intangible or intangible property, a debtor's rights, in collateral, publishing rights, the privilege or corporate shareholders to purchase newly issued securities in amounts proportionate to their holdings, the negotiable certificate granting such a privilege to a corporate shareholder. And then you have different definitions of rights. You have absolute right, legal right, natural right, personal right, procedural right, property right, substantive right, vested right, right against self incrimination, rightful, right of action, right of assembly, right of election, right of entry, right of family integrity, right of first refusal, right of possession, right of preemption, right of privacy, right of publicity, right of revolution, right of support, right of survivorship, right of way, right to bear arms, right to counsel, right to die, right to no act, right to petition, right to rescind, right to travel, right to work, law, right. So, guys, okay, I just gave you all the definitions here in Black's Law Dictionary for, well, not all the definitions, meaning all the terms that is used here in Black's Law Dictionary with definitions that you can look up yourself. Okay, and now to finish up, says national citizenship signifies membership in the country as a whole. State citizenship, in contrast, signifies a relation between a person and a particular state and has application generally limited to domestic matters. State citizenship may affect one, tax decisions, and two, eligibility for some state provided benefits such as a higher education, and three, eligibility for state political posts such as U.S. Senator. In Article 1 of the Constitution, the power to establish a uniform rule of naturalization is granted explicitly to Congress. U.S. law permits multiple citizenship. A citizen of another country naturalized as a U.S. citizen may retain their previous citizenship through though they must renounce allegiance to the other country. A U.S. citizen retains U.S. citizenship when becoming the citizen of another country. Should that country's laws allow, U.S. citizenship can be renounced by Americans who also hold another citizenship via a formal procedure at a U.S. embassy, and can also be restored. All right, so guys, here you have it. If you want to travel, you want to get your passport, you can get your passport, American passport, without using a social security number. Okay? You don't want to give your estate information when applying for a birth certificate. We have information about applying and getting your American passport without social security number as a national, as a state citizen, not a U.S. slave citizen. Okay? I hope this video was informative for you. Once again, if you have more questions, continue to send your emails to aware and contact us via our contact form at areweallreallyeducated.com. Go to contact and you can contact Team Aware and they'll be there to answer any of your questions and get yourself started to becoming free. Become someone who no longer has to be combative with the country you were born. You have to know that when you were born, they created the birth certificate that has a bond number that's being traded on the New York Stock Exchange. If you're a U.S. citizen, or an American rather, okay, and they're using this, okay. Now we were 1933, HJR 192 went into bankruptcy. Guess what? That's when they created and took all the gold and silver. And like these things happened throughout that time, throughout the years. They had did many things that had caused for the people, we the people, to be put into a system that we were not given full disclosure. We did not agree because we were just born. How could we agree to something? They bamboozled our mom to give us up to the state. And so you have it. There are things that have been done fine, but just know that you are not a piece of paper because many people are living as a piece of paper. Okay, you have unalienable rights, God given, it's birthright inheritance, sovereignty that cannot be restricted or taken from you. Okay? You gave them the ability to take your rights from you and give you certain rights, and you have to abide by certain rules and regulations, and you have to abide by statutes and codes. And when you break those statutes and codes, you are liable because you are contracted with them. But there are ways for you to get out of that contract diminish all contracts, and get recompensated for all those contracts that were created with your with your social security number, and because they create these bonds as well. Every time you give up your signature, they're creating these bonds. And so, well, hope this video helped. Once again, if you want to travel, you want to travel as a non-U.S. citizen, get your passport. All the information is at awareareweallreallyeducated.com. Thank you. Peace.